Britain's Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, the second son to Queen Elizabeth II and the most famous mama's boy of all time, has apparently declared that he will not be in the public spotlight anymore. He's stepping back from public life like his father has done. He won't be doing any more whatever he was doing before. I don't know what those people do. I guess go to charities and open hospitals and go to, I mean, he was involved in the business world, helping entrepreneurs. Like, I don't know, whatever he's doing, he's not going to do it anymore. And he's expecting that that's going to make everything all better, and that's going to make everybody just simply forget about what he has been accused of doing, forget about that train wreck interview, forget about the fact that he thought, despite the fact that he is a very wealthy man, courtesy of the British taxpayers, and I say that because the Queen pays for him. I mean, this is the world's most famous mama's boy. He lives in his mama's house. His mama gives him money. I mean, this is a mama's boy. He's the world's oldest and most famous mama's boy. He's living up in his mama's house. And despite the fact that he gets so much from his mama, he's saying that he stayed at Jeffrey Epstein's house, a convicted pedophile, because it was the most convenient option at the time. I'm sorry, but unless every single one of the hotel rooms in New York City are infested with bed bugs and Ebola, that is definitely, for Prince Andrew, not the most convenient place for him to stay. That's not the most convenient place to stay for a homeless man on the street. I mean, even for a homeless man, they've got hostels, they've got shelters, they've got all this stuff. And Prince Andrew can stay just about anywhere in New York he wants to. If he wants to stay at Trump Tower, if he wants to stay at the Plaza, if he wants to stay at Waldorf Astoria, if he wants to stay wherever he wants to stay, he can stay. And if he doesn't want to stay in New York City, he can go to some Super 8 motel in New Jersey. He can go stay somewhere in Connecticut. He can go stay anywhere he wants. This guy can stay anywhere he wants to stay. And he thinks that Jeffrey Epstein's house was the most convenient. I mean, okay, even if you don't want to stay in a hotel, you want to stay at a famous person's house. I mean, a bunch of famous people live in New York City. A bunch of famous people. That's where, I mean, I remember the last time I went to New York City, I actually ran into a taping of Law and Order. And I saw the director as well. There's famous people all over New York City. You could have stayed at one of their places. I mean, it's just a fact. He could stay at Donald Trump's house. He could stay at Michael Bloomberg's house. He can go stay at Rudy Giuliani's house. He can go stay at the mayor's house. He can go stay at Bill Cosby. I don't know who he can stay anywhere he wants. I mean, but to choose the worst of the worst, a child predator, and say that's the most convenient, and we're just supposed to forget about that now because you're stepping down from public life, I don't think so. I don't think so. And this is my calling for all people in Britain right now. If you see Prince Andrew anywhere, he says that on the day that he took that picture with Virginia Roberts, he was at some pizza place. I don't know if that's some kind of code word. I don't know what, is he trying to send subliminal messages, pizza and pedophilia? I don't know what he's trying to do, but if you see him out there, I don't care if you see him at the grocery store, I don't care if you see him at, McDonald's, I don't care if you see him anywhere. I don't care if you see him wherever you see him. Apparently his daughter, what's her name? Benny or Beatrice. Beatrice is getting married now, and he's expected to walk her down the aisle. Well, look, I know that she has nothing to do with this, but come on. Let me tell you something. I'm not a woman, so no one's going to walk me down any aisle, but, if any of my parents said they were going to stay at a pedophile's house and say that's the most convenient for them, I mean, even that's more excusable than Prince Andrew because, a person with that kind of money, he can stay anywhere in New York City he wants. But even if my own parents said, I wouldn't invite them to my wedding. So I'm saying if you see him walking, whatever her name is, down the aisle, you surround that wedding and you protest him. Disrupt it if you have to. Disrupt it. If you see him in Trooping of the Color, disrupt the whole thing. Do not Do not allow the royal family, and this is one of the things I actually support the British Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn on. In a debate 2 nights ago with Boris Johnson, he said that the monarchy needs improvement, and people were getting all upset about him. How could you attack the monarchy? I mean, I can't believe in this day and age people are still willing to kill you over attacking the monarchy. I'm going to attack whoever I want to. And the monarchy does need improvement, because this goes to the Queen as well. The Queen should punish her son. Tell him to get the hell out of my house. What you doing staying up in my house for at 50-something years old? You got 2 daughters and stuff, and you're still shacking up in my house, eating up all the food, stinking up the bathrooms, taking up all my money. What is this? You're a bum. Get the hell out of here. In fact, the Queen should force her son to go to America and be questioned by the FBI and be put on the stand in New York City in a court of law to testify about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and be told he has to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. That's what the Queen should do. But because she mollycoddles him, she mollycoddles him because apparently this is her favorite son. He's literally getting away with this. He doesn't have to work a day in his life anymore. He can just continue staying up in Buckingham Palace, eating up all the food. He's gaining. I mean, he's fat too. I mean, I'm not criticizing him because he's fat. I'm fat too. I need to really lose some weight. I really got to. But this guy. I mean, you can tell he hasn't missed a meal. I mean, he's sitting there up in his mama's house, eating up all her food, drinking up all her alcohol, stinking up her bathrooms, taking all her money, and now he's not going to be working anymore? I mean, think about it. If this was Andrew Windsor instead of Andrew, the Duke of York, this guy would literally be on Channel 4, which is a very tabloidy channel in Britain. He'd be on Channel 4. He would be on, what was that show called in Britain? There was a show in Britain. It was and a lot of people got angry with it. And what was that show called again? Hang on a second. Let me find out what that show was. There was a show in Britain. I used to like it too. I think it was on Channel 4, but it made fun of people on Benefits and Proud, I think it was called. And Proud. Show. Yeah. Was it called Benefits and Proud? Yeah. Prince Andrew would be on that show. If he was a normal person, you'd have some cheeky British commentator or what are those people called when they announcers or whatever it's called, narrator, saying this is Andrew Windsor and he's 50-something years old and he still lives with his mama and now he's decided he's not going to work anymore. I mean, no, listen. If the Queen is going to give you money, which is actually our money, the Queen doesn't own any money apart from the money she gets when people go to Buckingham Palace for tours. Apparently that money goes to her. Well, other than that, there's no money. That's the British people's money. So effectively, she's stealing it, I think. She's taking the money from the British people and giving it to this low-down bum, Andrew. And we're still supposed to call him Prince? And he's not doing it? No! Don't stop doing your work. You continue doing your work. What you need to do is you need to buy a ticket to New York City and go to the FBI or go to the lawyers or everything and say, listen, I'm going to answer any question you want and I'm going to do it truthfully, and if I'm found guilty, I'll go to jail like anyone else. That's what he needs to do. I mean, let's take a look at one other example. You remember O.J. Simpson? I mean, he was eventually acquitted. But O.J., still to this day, many people accuse him of murdering his wife and her friend. And there was so much evidence, but people were so shocked that he won the case, But at least he was put in court. Prince Andrew, there is so much evidence of that Prince Andrew is shacking up with young girls, with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, he just has to open his mouth and people don't believe him. Even the most, educated. I mean, I'm not talking about some conspiracy, theory type of. And I'm not saying conspiracy theorists are uneducated. They're probably the smartest people out there. But people who society thinks are educated and neutral, free of any frivolities, BBC and all these kind of people, David Frost and Dimbleby and all these people, even they're saying that there's something up with Prince Andrew. So I mean, there's more evidence of it, and he's not even going to court. So this thing about him stepping down from public duty, that's not enough. That's not nearly enough. You mean to tell me that he gets to shack up with young girls, which is against the law? And yes, in America, under 18 is illegal because they're still children. You can't vote when you're under 18 because you're considered a minor. So, these countries, even my country of Canada, I will rebuke, that say that 16 you can consent. That in and of itself, any politician who is presiding over a country with that law is going to hell because they're encouraging pedophilia. If you can't vote when you're 18, you can't consent to sex at 16. So what he did, if he did it, which I think he did do it, he's a pedophile as well as Jeffrey Epstein. And there's more evidence that he is, and he's not going to face justice, but he doesn't get to work anymore, and he just gets to shack up in his mama's house now, his 90-something-year-old mama's house. That's not right. In fact, I would say he's getting away with it. The media is saying, well, he's facing backlash. He ain't facing no backlash. Prince Andrew is as happy as he's ever been. Think about it. I don't get to work anymore. I get to stay in a palace for the rest of my life, and nobody can bother me, and I can shoot birds out of the sky and shoot deer in the woods and just do nothing for the rest of my life. Maybe if I want to go on a trip, I'll go on a trip. I'll disguise my face. I'll dress up like a woman so nobody criticizes me or everything. But I'm saying if you see Prince Andrew out there, don't give him any rest. Don't allow him to just shove off gracefully and in the sunlight. If you see him out in public, give him a hard time. I'm telling you, give him a hard time. He needs to answer questions. He needs to be held to account like everyone else. So that's what I have to say on Prince Andrew. He has stepped down from public duty, but don't take the heat off him even for a second, because if you do, it's going to lead to more Prince Andrews down the future, more princes acting badly. The royal family is a family, the British royal family, I mean all royal families really, once you're in a position of that sort of privilege, you act badly, but especially the British royal family has a history of men who act viciously and violently and disgustingly, whether it's Albert Victor, King Henry, King Edward, both King Edward 7 and 8. I mean, but as far all these different royal, Queen Victoria's uncles or wicked uncles, the Hanoverians, they're all wicked and evil. They're all in hell, one by one, being thrown into hell like flies. The hellfire. They're the coal that keeps hell hot. The British, the men in the British royal family, and Prince Andrew, if he doesn't want to join them, he needs to come clean with his soul. He really does. And the first way he can do that is go to New York City, testify, and go through the court process like everyone else. This is the Arana Nation.